Hello, everybody. You're listening to MAV FM, made by students for the world. My name is Mason,
I'm Judah.
and today we have with us a very special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ben Jasinski. I'm a saxophone player. I compose for symphony, and I also do recording, mixing, and mastering.
How long have you been here at MSU?
I'm in my third year, so I'm a junior right now.
Nice. Well, Ben's got a couple of tracks for us selected today. So let's get right into it. Do you want to play us something quick?
Yeah, I'll give the first one kind of some backstory. I kind of brought a bunch with me, so I'll have to sift through it. But the first one I have, it's a cover. A new kind of trend that's been going around is something called epic orchestration that basically takes normal songs, and sometimes these are pop songs or just really any kind of song at that point, and you're kind of making this epic orchestra version, something that kind of sounds like a trailer to a movie. And so there's this song called Erlkönig by Franz Schubert, very, very well-known piece from, I think, like the 1800s, and I kind of turned that into this kind of epic orchestration for full symphony orchestra. So here that is. Okay, that was Erlkönig by Franz Schubert and then covered by me. So the original version, it's just piano and a male opera singer. And how that song kind of works, it's a story about a man and his son. They're on a horse running away from the Erlkönig, which translates to Earl King or Elf King. And it's really, really creepy. The Elf King's trying to get the man's son, come here, come to my castle in the mountains and come play with my daughters. It's super creepy, super weird. But it's all one singer doing different characters. He does the Earl King, the man, and then the son. But there's a fourth character in there that not a whole lot of people get. And it's not done by the voice, it's done by the piano. And it's that continued triplet feel, that da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, is it the horse then?
It's the horse galloping. So you hear, at the beginning, you hear the kind of that wall of brass hit you at the beginning, and then you hear the piano's triplets, all just in that right hand. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's that horse galloping. And it's real, props to whoever plays this song live. It's been performed a bunch. That piano player is doing those triplets continuously the entire song. So what I did was I used different instruments to kind of convey the different characters. So in the beginning, I believe I used the French horn as kind of the narrator as well. It starts out being narrated. And then the low brass, so like your euphonium and bass trombone and your trombones are the father, kind of big, kind of protective, deep voice. So I gave that to low brass. The son is done by the trumpets, higher, and it's still related to the father because they're both brass instruments. So I kind of used the very small relations to kind of paint a bigger picture. And then the Earl King is done by the bass clarinet, the contrabass clarinet, and then bassoon. And then I wrote in contrabassoon, but if I ever get this performed, I'd have to get like the Minnesota Orchestra to play it because I think they're like the only people in Minnesota that have a contrabassoon at this point. But those are very creepy sounding instruments, and the Earl King's very creepy.
Right.
When he comes in this piece, the entire time signature changes and it feels very off. You don't really know where the center of, like, it's very hard to find the key center. It's very hard to find even any rhythm because it's the way Schubert kind of uses the triplets to kind of alternate between the left and right hand is very, very cool. So I had a lot of fun orchestrating this and trying to add in my own little things, because when you cover something, you shouldn't just copy and paste it into whatever you're working on. You want to, if you're going to cover it, give it your own kind of spin, or it's like, oh, I'm just letting them write the songs and I'm going to do it. So I like adding a lot of those triplet runs. So in the high woods, I added a lot of that to fill up kind of the top of the kind of the frequency spectrum. The higher woods kind of filled up that empty spot because there's a lot of lows in this song.
Nice. That's really cool. It's clear that you definitely have like a passion for making music and stuff, and I'll definitely have to give it a second listen now that I've the brass is the father, like the French horns and then the trumpet and stuff, just to appreciate it a bit more. But why don't you tell us a bit about where you started, how you kind of developed your love for music and making it and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so music has been very important in my family. It started with my grandfather on my dad's side. He played tenor sax in the army band during the occupation in Berlin for a long time. He actually lived over in Berlin with a buddy of his for a while. Kind of lived like kings over there. Fun stories I've gotten from my grandma. He brought home actually one of his buddies bought him. Oh no, he bought it off the black market, one of the tenor saxes he had, for like 12 cases of cigarettes.
There's a black market for instruments?
During the occupation of Berlin in Germany, apparently. And he also got a camera that he gave to my cousin too. And and that made it to the United States in a wooden box filled with straw. So he passed away in 2010, and all of his saxophones actually came to me and my dad, who my dad's the youngest of 6. So the fact that we got the horns was kind of a big deal to us. But my dad was also very passionate about music. He played saxophone as well since I think grade school all the way up through like most of college, he played saxophone. First chair jazz and everything and all that. So he was very passionate about music. And then when I came into the picture, when I was young, my dad would every now and then bring out, he had just a student level Yamaha at the time. And so every now and then he'd play, and I just see that, and I'd just be begging my dad, teach me how to play saxophone. Teach me how to play saxophone. Because it was so cool to see my dad play every now and then. And then when I was 10, he finally started teaching me. So I was like 5th grade or something. And I have been playing saxophone ever since. Me and my dad now have a pretty good collection of saxophones. We have 2 from my grandpa. So we have a silver-plated Con New Wonder, which is a pretty rare saxophone, at least to me it is. One of the best saxophones I've ever played. We got it professionally refurbished. Still, like, one of the best saxophones I've ever played. We have a silver Puree. I have never found another one of those. If anyone can, like, find another one, I would love to hear about it, because I haven't found anyone who has one.
Like, even online?
Even, like, online, they're so hard to find. Like, I remember my lessons teacher was like amazed that we even had one. They're apparently rare, at least to me, but those 2 are very important. So between my dad and I, it's like those 2, and then his like student level one that he got when he got out of college, because he still wanted a horn because he always played college horns. Those are technically his, and eventually they will be mine. As far as my horns, I have a student level soprano that my dad got me when I was in like high school, just dink around on. I have a Selmer Lavoie 2 that's an intermediate one. I got that in 7th grade. I played that 7th grade through 9th grade. And then summer after 9th grade, me and my dad went on a road trip to Illinois. Most of my family's from Illinois. And we went to a store called PM Woodwinds and a bunch of others. PM Woodwinds, amazing saxophone shop. Cool saxophones. I won't get into that too much, but if you're in like the Evanston, Illinois area, check out PM Woodwinds. And I got a P. Moriat PMXA 67R custom class. It's my professional level horn. So that's one I've been playing ever since. And so I've been playing, in any jazz band I can find in school. I've been first chair in jazz since I was in 7th grade. And then here in college, I played saxophone a lot in like the wind ensemble, big band, like the big jazz band, brass band, and jazz combo.
Nice.
So are you from Illinois or?
I'm not. Everybody on my dad's side is, and we go there all the time. I love Illinois. It's such a fun place, aside from, all the crime and whatnot. My uncle's got a flower shop, actually, in downtown Chicago.
Oh, nice.
So Chicago is a fun place. But then the other side of music that I do a lot, as far as, like, creating and performing, is composing. I've been composing since I was in 10th grade, because I started taking theory classes in high school. And then summer before my senior year of college, I asked my band director, hey, can I arrange something for the band and orchestra to play? And he's like, sure. Well, we maybe even play it at our Bethel concert. So for those who don't know, there's a college, Bethel University here in Minnesota, and a tradition at the high school I went to Forest Lake Senior High, is we would go every year and play our biggest concert at Bethel University's Performing Arts Hall. Amazing place. And so I spent my entire summer, I had no life this summer. That like I just worked on this darn project. And so what it's called the Suite of Emotions. I took 6 songs by other composers. I don't have it on here because technically I would get like copyright striked for it.
Right.
It's on YouTube somewhere if you want to find it. And so it's 6 different emotions in music, because to me the biggest thing in music it can do is convey emotion.
Right.
And so I think I used Jupiter by Holst. Then I went into Concerning Hobbits from The Hobbit. After that, I went into Immolation from the Schindler's List. So for like despair, the Jupiter is like joyous. Then the Hobbit is like, oh, this is peaceful. This is, melancholy and safe. And then Immolation from Schindler's List, the movie about the Holocaust, it's just pure despair. I mean, John Williams, one of the greatest composers ever. So I did that, and then I went into Love, Pledge, and Arena from Attack of the Clones, another John Williams classic for love. And then I went into The Spark, also by John Williams. And then there's this version, Samuel Kim does a lot of good epic orchestration. He did a version, he took Imperial March and Carol of the Bells and put them together. And so I couldn't find any form of any score online. So I literally notated it by ear. So I arranged all this. I printed all the parts for everybody, and they actually let me conduct it and lead all the practices too.
Nice.
So they let some senior grade kid who's never done this before. I just know this by, watching a crap ton of videos online and just figured it out.
How did it go?
Amazing. One of the greatest moments, I think, in high school for me. I got a lot of support from that, but I think because I was a student too, by my fellow students. I mean, Forest Lake is not a very arts-centered place. I mean, we had to me and all the other arts people protested twice because the arts were always the first thing to go in budget cuts for us.
It was relatable.
Yep, it was never supported for us. So to get that kind of support there was a big thing. A lot of people just took band, orchestra, or choir just for the credit. But they really cared. I think it's because I was doing it. And I was like, okay, this is I think the students were like, hey, this is one of us. Let's support him. So, I mean, people actually practiced outside of class for this. So I'm blown away. My sister for my birthday that year got me a conducting baton, and I still have it. I have it in my room. And I remember when I got on that stage to conduct, I mean, I'm shaking.
Right.
There is a massive hall. This is the biggest concert of the year. And because of COVID, everyone in my grade has never done one of these because you only do them 10th through 12th grade. High school for us is 9 through 12. So we didn't get to do it as 9th graders. 10th and 11th grade was COVID, so we didn't get to do it then. This was the one time, and I was up there conducting, and I'm shaking. I'm like, oh my gosh. I am I have our full band, full orchestra, and there's a choir up in the rafters. And I have all of these people looking at me, being like, okay, don't screw up. Right as we started, shakes went away. I don't really remember a whole lot of the actual performance because I think I was just in pure, you're
in focus mode.
I'm survive,
Yeah.
just survive. And the end of that kind of whole suite, it ends with a glockenspiel doing the Imperial March theme. Bum, 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 boom, bum, bum, boom, bum, bum. And I held my hands up as I conducted that, and I waited. I remember I waited until that ring, I couldn't hear it anymore because I needed a second. I'm like, I need time to myself to actually believe I am doing this. Because I never thought I would, And I let my hands down, and it felt like a scene out of the movies. I couldn't hear it. It's like that scene where it's like all the applause is happening, but it's super faded out. you know?
Right.
And then slowly, oh my goodness. I turn around and everybody's on their feet. Just going nuts. And
is this recording like online somewhere?
Yeah, if you look up like Forest Lake Senior High, you know, Bethel concert 2022, I bet you could find it. John Williams, please don't come after me. I didn't get any rights to do this in any way, shape, or form. I just went with it. But I had an amazing time. A lot of my family from Illinois actually came up to see it.
Nice.
And I got a lot of, like, everybody was like, that was their favorite one from the entire thing. And we did How to Train Your Dragon that day too. So that was some good praise. I actually just got a text from a friend of mine who goes to like Minnesota State, and the one up in St. Paul or whatever, and saying they're playing Jupiter, which was the first movement in mine.
Nice.
And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting flashbacks to that. That was such a fun time. I'm like, oh, thank you very much. And I remember afterwards, so I didn't get any time to think because I had to conduct that, and then we had to play the next song, which I was playing in. And then right after that, the jazz band played in the lobby, and I was first chair alto for that. So I didn't get a moment to process. I had to go play in that. So now I'm playing that, and I'm finally, okay, we're tearing down. We're done with jazz. I go into the hall, and I'm bawling. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did that. That was a year's worth of work that I mean, I didn't do it. I didn't do anything else other than music that year. I was just crying. I remember the choir director, Mr. Guidry, bless your soul, came in. He saw me and just gives me a hug. He just pulls me in. You did amazing. We are so proud of you. And I'm just like, I know. Just crying my eyes out. So that was a big moment. That I think is what sparked me to really want to compose. So after that, I started doing my own original thing. And I like telling stories with music. So I came up with a lot of cool ideas. I wrote Potential Energy, which was, I wanted a theme song. I'm like, movie characters get theme songs. I write music. I'm writing myself a theme song. So I wrote Potential Energy. I wrote Dance of the Sun and the Moon, which is a song about kind of a full day cycle of, okay, this is what a sunrise sounds like. This is what does the night sound like? And then what does a day sound like? And then we end with we end with sunrise. We actually start with sunset.
Nice. Well, do you want to play us another song of yours that you have?
Yeah. Okay. So this one I got, it's movement 1. It's called Ascendin'. It is a project I am not done with. This is just the first movement. It is an entire life written in symphony. I'm not done because I don't think I'm going to finish it within a long time. I'm kind of writing it as I go through life. I'm kind of writing the life I've lived so far. Okay. And as I go and experience more things, I will write more. So we start with the birth, the introduction to the character. Then we go into, the perfect toddler. That'll be the second kind of chunk you hear. And then kind of grade school. It sounds very fun. Then it's going to kind of get a little silly. Okay. He's going to start being kind of a rambunctious little guy, early tween years, stuff like that. And it's going to sound very playful, very hectic, lots of energy. There is a section in there that I haven't written, so you hear a gap. And then after that, it's going to sound really confusing. Okay? It's written in I wrote it in 11/8, a really weird thing that I wrote. It's confusing because it's like early high school. We're really confused. Life is a weird thing. You're in puberty. You have no idea who you are. And then after that, it kind of gets into, oh, I'm now anxious. I'm stressed. I have responsibility. So we'll hear that. So I'll start that right now.